radio and TV, definitely, with all these conglomerates like that Sinclair that's been buying up all these small broadcast stations.
You could be seeing that now, because I don't know how it is east of the Mississippi, but out here there's all these different weeklies. Like there's the SF Weekly.
Yeah.
East of me, there's the Orange County Weekly, the OC Weekly, and it's a kind of a chain. And I think they're under the umbrella of the Village Voice is also in there.
Yep.
And so the OC Weekly wrote me, and they said, hey, we're used to be your sister newspaper. Would you like to work for us? And I wrote back and said, it'd be hard, thank you, but it'd be hard for me to write for a local paper when I'm not really local. It would take me a 90 minutes to drive to OC and like write the article and actually be local and drive home. And I just would feel like kind of an Auslander. I can't. There's not one intersection I can write about in OC, and so I post my little column on my website. But I realized what I had lost soon as I lost it. It's not one of those things where I missed it later. I loved my job, and my editor is such a smart guy. He's also a grown-up man with a family. And when you lose your job that fast with a mortgage and kids and a wife, holy shit, man, that's the real world. You know, that's an ass whooping.
Yeah.
And so the people who took over, I don't know them, but they didn't do it in a way. They could have done it and not have screwed some really good people up. They could have given them some notice so they can at least get some resumes going. Not well played, I will say that.
Yeah.
And so that's basically my take on it. What fascinates me with a tinge of nausea is what comes next. Because we're, a year away from the next election.
Yep.
And what the LA Weekly is going to try and do to take a blue city and turn it red. They're losing advertisers.
Yep.
And, just like left and right, like fleas hopping off a dead body. And I doubt people in LA are going to pick that newspaper up. Like the record store yesterday, which is kind of like, the city square. People were coming up to me and going, man, the only reason I read the weekly was like gig listings, the cover feature, and you.
Yeah.
And now I'll just go to the venues online and get the information. Yeah. I'm not even going to touch an LA Weekly again. I'm done. And I think the LA Weekly, they might find that they have created a thing that no one wants.
Well, for us, we are a large independently owned alt weekly in Western North Carolina. So we're in the middle we're the belt buckle, the Bible Belt, and we've been around about 20 years, and we have a huge area that we cover, and we do a lot of investigative journalism, feature writing, and things like that. Like a paper that allows me to, hey, we're going to do a feature on Henry Rollins for Western North Carolina and things like that. So it's a great place to work for, but it's the first time in the last election that we've been getting letters calling us fake news and all that stuff, and it's, and my publisher is just blown away by it, that because they don't agree with the fact that we're wrong, but. And,
in the adult world, when you're little kids in the sandbox, everyone calls each other names and it's fine. But when you call an adult, when you accuse an adult of something, look, you better bring your proof. And to be a journalist, I'm not a journalist, you are, and your boss is, to be called fake news, like to have spent your life, like your time in college, you wanted to be a journalist since you were 15, and here you are, and someone says fake news, and they don't even know what they're talking about, it's very hurtful. And I'm not trying to talk all snowflakey, but, like, man, fake news, prove it. Yeah. But like when Trump does this thing, and he does it almost every time he talks, and make note of this, and next time you listen, you'll see I'm right. He has these mythical people. Well, everyone's talking about it. A lot of lawyers are angry about it. He just makes up these mythical people. Yeah. Well, everyone knows this is wrong. Who the fuck are you talking about? Like these are the monkeys on your raft at the end of your own version of Agira, Wrath of God. You're just saying things because you're a failed businessman in the executive office. And so when he goes, this is fake news, like, really? Show me the part that's fake.
Yeah.
And if you had the balls to tell the truth for once, because when someone says that's fake news, like, do your research and prove to me what I just said is fake.
Yeah.
And they'll never do that. They just write you a mean letter and it gets them off. However, when your boss gets that letter, it really causes, it wastes your boss time because their stomach acid goes off the chart, and they have to go recheck all their good work because some idiot with no clue is just hurling aspersions.
Well, my final question is, what is a life immersed in music and travel and meeting people from all over the world and creating and discussing? What has that taught you about what it means to be a human being?
Well, I'm 56, almost 57, and having seen what I've seen, all over the world, travel, meeting more people than any president ever meets. I'm in my fourth decade of, being a guy whose face is recognizable. I get talked to everywhere. I think to be a great human or to be a good person, you must be merciful and patient more than you ever want to be. I mean, it's a bit monk-like, a bit Buddhist, how patient you need to be with your fellow human being. Like these people who call your boss and say fake news. You almost have to go, okay, breathe. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And be merciful. And that's really the only way forward. And it sounds like I'm some old guy who's mellowing out, but kindness and understanding, patience and research, and knowing what you're talking about, that is to me being a true global citizen. Because when I travel, I see some of the most appalling poverty, like some real devastating stuff exacted upon kids. I met all these kids in South Sudan and northern Uganda years ago who'd all been kidnapped by Joseph Comey's guys, the Lord's Resistance Army. I met 15-year-old kids who'd hacked bodies to pieces, who'd killed people in their own village. And these kids look right through you. I mean, they're destroyed. The PTSD, they're ghosts. You're talking to these kids, and the eyes go through you like lasers. It's so sad, and you can't make them smile. There's nothing you can do. And when you see stuff like that, all I want to do is help. All I want to do is be more generous than I was last week. And a lot of times on stage, I say things like, look, I'm sure you're good people. You showed up to see me, but you have to be better. I have to be better. Like, however good you are, it's not good enough. You have to upgrade. Everyone needs to upgrade. And you don't ever be satisfied for longer than a minute and a half. Otherwise, get back to work and improve something, mainly yourself, because when you do that, then everything around you gets a little better. That's what these decades have taught me. Because if I didn't cling to that, it would just be lawsuits, people lying about me, like people call Howard Stern, women I've never met. Oh, I slept with Henry. Like, I wish. That never happened. And so you have to try and forget the fact that people can do really awful things. And people can be really creepy. I mean, I get stalked. I got weird, It would be very easy for me to say screw the lot of them and just walk away. But that would be not seeing the whole, that would be kind of selective viewing, so you can flip everyone off and walk away. And some mornings that seems like the plan. But I can't do it. And so the older I get, the more frustrating these things get, because I realize that's not an option. Inactivity is not an option. Apathy is not an option. Disgust can only be a motivator. It can't be a conclusion. And now more than ever, I was thinking last night, like, man, I just got to brave up. I just got to hit the writing harder. I got to really start slinging, hotter napalm around. Because history is gonna judge me as someone who stood up, because it's just I just spent like a month in Europe working on this movie with a bunch of wonderful Luxembourgians and Germans and Dutch and Belgians, and I'm talking with these people every day, and they've all been to America. They've been to New York 80 times, and they don't have comments. They have questions.
Yeah.
Like, what's it like to have that guy as your president? I'm like, it's psychedelic, man. It's just so trippy. And they're like, but he says this. I'm like, I know. You're making my teeth hurt. Yes, I know. And they're just kind of incredulous. Like, how did it happen? I'm like, I don't know. But I do know. And you and I, the first 5 minutes of this conversation was this age of eventuality. And so that's one of the reasons I'm doing this slideshow tour is when I'm on stage talking, like when was it the Orange Peel in Asheville?
Yep.
My stories are pretty much informed by my travel. Here's what happened when I went to North Korea, when I went here, when I went there. Here's who I met, what I saw, etc. Now I'm bringing the photographic aspect of that, and every photo has a story. Yeah. And a lot of the photos relate to anecdotes I've never told on stage. And so I've done a few of these in America and a few of these in Australia as far as a ticketed event where, we're going to do this for real. And people really dug it. And so that's why I'm doing this tour at this time, because it's going to be photos of everything like, orphans in Haiti to angry soldiers in North Korea glaring at me. These photos are from all over the world. Penguins in Antarctica. There's a lot of stuff in these slides, and they're all the photos are taken by me. And it's some pretty intense POVs.
Yeah.
and hopefully it makes young people, my real target audience, not be afraid and be inspired to go get a passport. And as your girlfriend says, Southeast Asia, y'all should go next summer. It's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, I really thank you for giving me some of your time today. It meant a lot, Henry.